For this project, I decided to choose the trial of the Manson family, specifically the trial of Charles Manson. The Manson trial did feature 5 other defendants: Susan Atkins, Linda Kasabian, Patricia Krenwinkel, Leslie Van Houten, and Tex Watson. The trial was mainly about their leader, Charles Manson. These 6 people were accused of killing the 8-month pregnant actress, Sharon Tate, who was the wife of Roman Polanski, her hairstylist, Jay Sebring, family friend and writer, Wojciech Frykowski, heiress to the Folger coffee fortune, Abigail Folger, and the groundskeeper of the house they were killed at, Stephen Parent. On the right is one of the victims, actress Sharon Tate, and below that is one of Charles Manson's previous mugshots. Here's a little bit about his childhood. Charles Manson was born on November 12, 1934, in Cincinnati, Ohio, to an unmarried woman named Kathleen Maddox. His mother was briefly married to a man named William Manson, hence the name Charles Manson instead of Charles Maddox. His mother was an extremely heavy drinker, once selling him for a pitcher of beer to a childless waitress. When his mother and uncle were arrested for robbery, Manson was sent to live with his aunt and uncle. When she was released, she tried to have him placed in foster care, then sent him to an all-boys school which he later escaped from. At age 13, Manson began burglarizing stores for rent money, but was later caught and sent to another correctional facility which he later escaped from. This pattern continued until 1967, when the Manson family was created. So here's some information on who and what the Manson family was. The Manson family was a quasi-commune, which means it was one of those communities of people living together that had similar beliefs, lifestyles, and often those who had been rejected in some form. Because these people were social outcasts, they were more susceptible to someone as charismatic and narcissistic as Charles Manson. The family consisted mainly of women, with a few men to balance it out. Along with some beliefs found in Scientology, they also believed that the music of the Beatles was predicting the Second Coming. The Second Coming is a biblical event that occurs during the Apocalypse, which describes the second rising of Jesus from the dead. It's first mentioned in the book of Revelations, in which Jesus rises and judges all of humanity. Manson believed that he was Jesus, and the Beatles wanted him to respond with an album, and then begin Helter Skelter, which is a race war that would end humanity. This led him to try to release an album with the help of Terry Melcher, who was the previous renter of the house Tate and Polanski were renting. So the lawyers for the Manson trial were Vincent Bugliosi, who was the prosecutor, Ronald Hughes, who died under mysterious circumstances, followed by Irvin Kanarek for the defense. Major witnesses against the family were Bernard Crowe, a fraud victim of Manson, Barbara Hoyt, victim of the Manson family, and Mary Brenner and Steve Grogan, both members of the Manson family. Physical evidence against Watson and Krenwinkel was found in fingerprints on the revolver that had killed the victims. They were arrested because of this evidence, and the others had already been brought in because of unrelated crimes in Death Valley. Some questionable things did occur during the Manson trial. The biggest one was the death of Ronald Hughes, and the theory that the family had killed him for not doing better on their case. Other disturbances were a newspaper printing the headline, "Manson guilty, Nixon declares," which the defense tried to use to get a mistrial, which was later denied. The family also tried to get rid of witness Barbara Hoyt by luring her to Hawaii and giving her a lethal dose of LSD. This failed, and she later testified in court. Manson was also described as aggressive and hostile during the trial, once yelling at the judge that someone should cut off your head. A guilty verdict was reached after a week of deliberating. After hearing this, Manson said, "You people have no authority over me." The defendants' death sentences were commuted to life sentences after the death sentence was banned in California. As I say on the slide, I do believe the Manson family was guilty of murder, particularly Charles Manson. He was a narcissistic and power-hungry man who used his influence to have his followers kill 5 people because he believed he was Jesus and wanted to start a race war. So yes, I do believe he is guilty.